Afternoon. The dreaded post-lunch keynote. Yeah. I'll have to speak in soft, soothing tones so you guys can fall asleep with your full bellies. I'll do my best to keep you guys awake and alert. I'm going to start off making a prediction. And the prediction I'm going to make is that every one of us in this room, at least once in our lives, has said something to this effect. Man, if I would have known what Starbucks was going to be worth, I would have bought that on day one. And you can replace Starbucks with Google, Amazon, Tesla, the Facebook, you name it. They're all there, right? So when I think about that, I think, well, what if we could predict the next Amazon? Or what if we could predict the next Google? And I don't think it's that hard. I think it's pretty easy to identify what that next company is going to be, provided you understand the trends and how business flows. And then I got to thinking, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to buy the next Google or Amazon or Tesla because you already owned the next Google, Tesla, or Amazon? What if the company that you have right now could become that big? What if the company that you have could be that valuable in the marketplace? And I'm here to say that I think it can be, provided you understand what our culture values. Because see, here's the thing. As a culture, we invest our money, we buy stock into businesses that reflect the age that we exist in. Now, I don't mean our chronological age, I mean our cultural age. So I'm going to take you down a walk down memory lane for entrepreneurship here, but it's not boring. I promise you're going to get enlightened and enjoy it. And then we're going to talk about where the future of the economy is headed and how you can pivot your business in a way to become as valuable as those companies. And here's how it works. So if you look at, for example, back in the 1800s in the agricultural age, as a culture, we valued agriculture. So everybody put their money in it. I mean, if you were going to be a small business owner in the late 1800s, what did you want to do? You wanted to make shovels, horseshoes, breed oxen, milk cows, grow wheat, corn, something like that. Because if you wanted to be a small business owner, you better be in ag, because that's what our culture valued. Does this make sense? Yeah. And what happened was everybody got into agriculture because that was the business to get in. That was the industry that was the most popular. So everybody starts getting into it, and it gets so successful that right around the early 1900s, the supply outweighs the demand. The system can't hold itself anymore. The system implodes, and there's a revolution called the Industrial Revolution. So right around 1920, the Industrial Revolution creates a brand new age, and it's different than the agricultural age. It's the manufacturing age. Now, in the manufacturing age, we valued as a culture things differently in the agricultural age. We stopped putting our money into ag, and we started putting our money into manufacturing. Cities were built around manufacturing, like Detroit and Pittsburgh. And if you remember, by the way, well, if you don't remember, you probably don't remember, but if you've read the history books, there was something happening with the agriculture, with the farmers. When the agricultural age died, what did the farmers do? They did one of two things. They pivoted or perished. Right? The ones that pivoted realized that they had to treat their farm like a manufacturing plant. So they put their cows in pens, hooked them up to automatic milking machines. They shed their plowshares, and they got cropping machines and combines. And they treated it like a manufacturing plant. But the majority of the small farmers, what did they do? They threw up arms. They go, don't forget about the American farmer. The American farmer is the lifeblood of America. And they begged for the government to subsidize them and help them out and keep them alive, when in fact, we stopped valuing agriculture. We no longer cared about having fresh milk delivered to our door on a daily basis. We were happy to go to a retail manufacturing plant called a grocery store and get it the cheapest, quickest way we could. So that's important to know, because those companies that didn't pivot, they perished. Well, the manufacturing age kicked off, and it did really well. Everybody got into manufacturing. If you were in the early 1900s, mid-1900s, Bill, you wanted to get a degree in engineering, science, mathematics. You wanted to be an engineer. You wanted to know how to manufacture, build. Our grandparents, our parents, they could go work at a manufacturing plant for 40 years, get that gold watch, and everything would be great. In fact, everybody got into manufacturing, so much so that the supply outweighed the demand by around 1950, and it couldn't sustain itself any longer. We had a brand new revolution called the computer revolution. And the computer revolution killed the manufacturing age, and we were born into a brand new age called the information age, which started right around 1969. And in 1969, 1970, we started to value information as a culture more than we valued manufacturing. And the manufacturers did one of two things. They either pivoted or they perished, right? GM, Ford, Motor, all those people, they started going, oh, don't forget about Made in America. Made in America, it's the lifeblood of America. And if they just complained about it, asked the government to subsidize them, they ended up failing. Because most people in the information age looked at their Excel spreadsheets and they go, well, according to the information, Made in America is not important anymore. Made in Taiwan is the way to go. And so those companies that pivoted and they started running their manufacturing facilities like an information-based business, implementing statistical process control, ISO 9000. They started managing through information system technology. They did pretty well. But the ones that just complained, they perished. And we have been in the information age since 1969 all the way up till about 2010. And about 2010, something shifted. Something happened again. Sparked, by the way, by our 2007 economy. So what happened for these past 40 years, all we've cared about is information. If you know something I don't know, I'll pay you for that. And we started to invest money into information. People stopped getting degrees in engineering. They started getting degrees in law, in finance. And those businesses that did real well, they did great because they were information-based. They were not manufacturing-based. Cities like Tampa was built around information. This is why we have more attorneys and financial advisors in Tampa than just about any other city out there. You want to get sued? Move to Tampa. It's a good place. And so what happened is all of these information-based businesses were doing great until around 2010 because the market couldn't hold itself anymore. Technology created a whole new age, and now we had this new revolution in 2010 called the entrepreneur revolution. You guys are a part of that. The entrepreneur's revolution has created more entrepreneurs than any other time in history. I'm looking at a room full of entrepreneurs. You're here because there was an opportunity about 2010. Maybe you were in this business before, maybe you just got in. But we're all feeling this right now. There's never been a better time to be a small business owner, to be an entrepreneur. And this is the revolution that has created a brand new age. Now, this age hasn't been labeled yet. We still don't have a meme or a terminology to describe what this is. I call it the collaboration age. Some people call it the sharing age. But it's important to understand the dynamic of what age we're in because people are putting their money into business that is collaborative, not informative. And I'll give you some examples of this because, by the way, right now we're seeing information-based businesses either pivoting or throwing up arms and complaining, and they're probably going to perish. Here's my best example of this, taxi cabs. Information-based business, right? They know the shortest route from point A to point B. They also, by the way, know the longest route from point A to point B. So they can hedge their bets. If they don't think you're a big tipper, they'll just take you the long way around, right? And we used to have to pay for that information because we didn't know how to get from point A to point B. But now, we all got smartphones, and those smartphones know everything the cab driver does, and so we don't care about that information anymore. What we care about is it a good experience? Do we like the ride? And now you're seeing collaborative-based transportation models being built, like Uber and Lyft and all of the other rideshare technologies. What is the cab industry doing right now? They're throwing up arms, oh, don't forget about the cab industry. We work so hard to get good at this. We're like, we don't care. We could care less about you. We care about how the experience is. And frankly, a cab, it's pretty dirty. Not very nice. I'd rather go with somebody who's got a clean car. And how do we evaluate a rideshare? Did they give us a bottle of water? Did they offer us mints? Was the conversation good? Did they let us tell them which way to go? And this is a completely different experience. And we value as a culture collaboration more. Now, I'm gonna peel this layer off and show you that each one of these phases answered one basic question. And that question determined the success of the business. In the agricultural age, you had to ask the question, where? Where do I plant my crops? Because if you wanted to plant your crops in Phoenix, you were a fool. Not good farming over there, right? So they had to say where. It was a very important issue. In the manufacturing age, we stopped caring about where, and we started caring about how. How do I build it better, cheaper, faster, quicker, right? But you could have a manufacturing plant anywhere. We didn't care. In the information age, we stopped caring about how, and we started caring about what. What do you know that I don't know? What's your trade secret? What's my trade secret? Where's that? What's that information? In the collaboration age, it's a new question. So we had where, we had how, we had what. What do you guys think this question is now? Why's coming. Actually, when is happening all the time. It's always, yeah. Who? Yeah, who? Yeah, who? Right now, correct me if I'm wrong, people do business with you based upon who you are more than anything and more than ever before in history. And we could always say that was the case, but there were things that we valued more. Yeah, we always wanted to know who they were, but now it's like it's our defining moment. Like, look, you could have the best priced product, you could have the best technology, but if I don't like you as a person, I'm not doing business with you. I promise you, some of you, at one point in time, when you're doing a quote, an install or something, there was a conversation about our president. Somebody said, well, who did you vote for, right? And people have chosen to do business with you based upon who you voted for president. That's crazy. But it shows you who you are, right? So this who is a very important thing right now. In this business, which by the way, if you look at this entire business that Reto and Michelle have created, what is Garden Light LED focusing on? Do they have great technology? Yeah, they do, right? Do they have great high quality product with great warranties? Yes, they do. From a great manufacturing business. But what is the secret and the key to the success with Garden Light LED? Is it the equipment or is it the people? It's the people. This is a collaborative-based business model, which is why they're going to soar, and this will be a $1 million, billion-dollar business, because they understand that it's not about the gadgets and the wizards and the wizards, it's about the people. The who is what it's all about. Today, if you want to become a billion-dollar business, you better be a better who. Not a better what, not a better how, not a better where, but a better who. Now, we could have fun since we have a little bit of time. We could talk about how long this is going to last. I mean, let's not build a business model around something that's going to die in 5 years, right? Well, good news is we are right at the beginning of this collaboration age, and most ages last about 40 years. So what that means is we're kind of on that crest of that wave to where collaborative-based businesses are starting to take momentum. The wave's already gone. We want to get on that and do it as best we possibly can. So we've probably got about till about 2050, this is going to be the business. Now, I do believe that maybe technology is going to speed this age up a little bit, and maybe it's not going to last 40 years, maybe it'll be 30 or 35. But I think we're safe. We're in a good space till about 2040 to 2050. The thing that this culture, as a planet, that we're going to value most is who you are. Then we're going to have a whole new revolution. So right around 2040, 2015, we'll have a new revolution. I believe that's going to be the spiritual revolution. And it's going to create a whole new age called the altruistic age. And in that age, the new question, because we've gone through where, how, what, who, we're left with why. And we're going to start asking why questions like, why do we have crime? Why do we have terrorism? Why do we have racism? Why do we have sexism? Why do we have any ism, for that matter? And we're going to really start to ask the important questions. We're kind of playing around with them now in this culture, but we're not solving them. We'll solve them in the altruistic age. Now we can have a lot of fun and say, well, how long is that going to last? About 40 years? So now we're on to about 2080, 2090. We've run out of questions. It's all over. Man, good thing you're born now. Your grandkids are screwed. No, what's going to happen is we actually recycle and we go back to the very first question again and we start asking ourselves where. But instead of where do we plant our crops, it's going to be where do we colonize? Are we in Mars? Are we in Titan? Have we got wormhole technology? And it's going to be a brand new frontier age, because the frontier age, by the way, long before, we've already cycled through it several times, the frontier age was another version of where. But right now, this is where it's all at. It's the who. How do you be a better who? I'm going to share with you 5 ways to become a more powerful who. As I go through this, I want you to come up with some questions, because time permitting, I'd love to answer any questions you guys have. That I don't remember, how much time did we? Yeah? 1:45-ish? Yeah? All right, cool. So I'll share with you 5 ways in which you can become a better who. And if you do that, you're going to increase the value and the worth of your business far greater than focusing on any other aspect. And here it is. The first thing that the most powerful who's on the planet have, the most influential who's have, is they have clarity. They have tremendous clarity on who they are and what they're about and what they stand for. The most influential people, you understand what they represent. You understand what they're about. In the old days, we would say never talk about religion, politics, and that kind of stuff, and just be neutral and just talk about anything to please everybody. But now the most influential people say, This is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I represent. And if that's not you, I don't want to do business with you. The best who's are very clear. Think about it. Look at Richard Branson. Richard Branson is about taking old business and putting a fresh perspective on it and making it fun. What is Elon Musk about? Elon Musk is about creating space-age technology in today's market. Look at what Oprah Winfrey is about. She's about daily doses of inspiration for women. And by the way, the most powerful brands, the most valuable ones, they're either loved or hated, but they're very rarely vanilla. Right? Because now they say, I'm going to take a stand and I'm willing to be judged for who I am, and that's what I'm about. So how can you become a better who in your business? You can become a better who by saying, this is who I am, this is what I stand for. I only work with, and then you could pick whatever niche you want. And I'll talk about this tomorrow, by the way, during our breakout sessions, but the moment you can create a powerful niche inside your business, you've created massive clarity. You're saying, this is who I am. This is the type of work I want to work with. I only work with residential homes 5,000 square feet or more. I only work with commercial buildings that have 400,000 square foot of yard space. I don't know, whatever it would be, right? But if you have these specific niches, say, this is what I'm about. This is why I loved what you guys said earlier about it's not about price, right? You're pre-qualifying your clients and say, this is who I am. This is what we do. We're going to sell products that are between this price and this price. Does that scare you? If so, we're not right for you. And you don't apologize for that. You just move on, right? Fact, in a service-driven business like you guys have, the people who want it the cheapest are the most annoying customers, the hardest to deal with, and the pickiest that never give you referrals. Am I right? Yep. The clients that pay you the most, that take your first offer and you have good margins, end up loving your product, loving you, and sending you to their neighbors, right? So it's about just saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. The best who's have massive clarity. What do you stand for? What do you represent? They're going to check you out anyway, so you might as well be clear about that. And I'm going to share with you how we can develop specific strategies when I get back, but I'm going to just layer these down right now. The second one is massive credibility. So clarity is, do I know what you do? Like, who are you, right? Credibility is, do I think you're the best person to do it? The most influential people are not only clear in what they represent, but they're credible in their ability to deliver that. So how credible are you in your industry? What are you doing to build that level of credibility? Now, there's a couple of things you do. One is you can align yourself with great manufacturers like Garden Light LED. That helps with the credibility. If you can have longer warranties than other people, that's great. But what are you specifically doing in your local business to create that level of credibility? I'll give you some strategies on how to do that in a moment. The third thing. Oh, by the way, if I'm coughing or sneezing, don't worry, I'm not contagious. I don't have the flu. It's just allergy season. So you don't have to avoid me after this or put on a gas mask. You're safe. Yep. Sure. You're all right. All right, cool. All right, here we go. The third one. The third one's an interesting one. The third one, the most influential people are incredibly prolific. I'm going to make that sound a little bit more basic, though. Here's the deal. The most influential people create more than they consume. They create more than they consume. Now, there's several ways we can approach this. One, that transfers to scalability in the business. When your business is scalable, you're influential. If you, I love what you guys are saying about with your competencies, I think was the word, where you said if you don't enjoy doing it, right? If you're doing things that you don't enjoy doing or you're not good at doing, you've not scaled your business effectively. The most influential people have scaled their businesses in such a way where they don't have what I refer to as functional roles in the business. They simply have vital roles in the business. So we'll talk about what that is. But it could be scalable from a marketability standpoint. It could be scalable inside the business. But at the heart of everything, influential people create more than they consume. So let me give you some examples of this outside of your business to just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Average American watches 4.5 hours of TV every evening. That's consumption. It is staggering, isn't it? Yeah. 4.5 hours of TV every day, that is consumption. What are you doing to offset that consumption in terms of creation? Now, I'm not saying that you would have to open up a TV studio and create 4.5 or 5 hours of TVs or videos, but what if you created a 5-minute video that got watched 1 million times? It's all perspective, right? Demos. There we go. Spoken from a man who's got a successful business, right? And that's creation, by the way, more than consumption. Proposals is a creation, not a consumption. Even with your relationship with Garden Light LED, there are certain local businesses that create more for Rado and Michelle than they consume. You're supposed to consume things from Rado and Michelle. They're here. You have this relationship with them. But if you're constantly on the phone going, gimme, 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 but you're not calling them up going, hey, I got an idea. Hey, this is something we did. I want to share this with you in hopes that you can take it to the rest of the group. That's collaboration. And that's where the value of this business happens, right? So ask yourself on a week-by-week basis, are you consuming more from Garden Light LED, or are you creating more for Garden Light LED? Are you consuming more for your business, or are you creating more? From an energetic standpoint, we all have met them. Those kind of people that when you get near them, they just suck the life and the energy out of you. Those people consume more than they create. But we also know those people that when you get with them, they light you up, right? You walk away feeling better about yourself. That's a person who creates more than they consume. So it's not just about scaling your business. It's about your attitude and your energy when people are with you. Do they walk away going, I feel like I'm fundamentally a better person because I hung out with that person. That's cool, right? That's number 3. Number 4. Number 4 is the most influential people are the most visible. The most influential people are also the most visible. And they're visible in probably 3 areas, depending upon how big you want to take this. One area would be they're visible online. Let's face it, if you're, as a small business owner, if you're not doing what you need to do to show up on Google searches to where you're getting the rankings that you need and the traffic, well, the reality is if people can't find you through Google, you're a nobody. Google is who you say you are. It's unfair, by the way. It's total crap. But in our culture, you are who Google says you are. So you have to be Google friendly. Yep. The other way is that it's in the community, right? It's also just being a great, visible person inside your community. Are you on any charitable boards? Do you volunteer your time for the university? I've got, by the way, this last year, I pulled in about $40,000 in business because I volunteer my time as a professor of practice to University of Tampa. And by going there and speaking with those kids, it's amazing how many of those kids have parents who own businesses. And they come home raving about what I shared with them, and then their parents reach out to me. We end up doing business together. So are you getting out there in the community? If you're not on at least one charitable board, and if you're not volunteering for at least one university, I would highly recommend that. It's going to be a cool strategy to help you get your voice out there, get your face out there as well. And then the third area, if you wanted to, would also be to become a local celebrity. Getting on TV, radio, getting in the paper, that gives massive credibility. If somebody's comparing 2 or 3 LED companies, right? And they go to their front website, and the front websites generally look relatively almost all the same. There's an outdoor picture of a yard that's lit up really well, and there's a list of features. But one of them has a clipping of when they were on some DIY show. They were featured in some landscaping, out your backyard. I mean, there's tons of those shows out there. If you could get on one of those shows, think about what that would do for your credibility if you just rebroadcast that show over and over. You might sit there and go, well, it's hard to get on those shows. Yeah, but it's not hard to get a camera and just go make one of your own. I mean, Kevin Harrington's going to come here tomorrow. Is that right, Michelle? Kevin Harrington's going to tell you that the technology in that phone right there is higher technology than the $250,000 studio he had when he first opened his company. It's amazing what you can do on an iPhone. You can actually go out and you can get a stabilizer camera like that and produce some pretty high quality videos on your own. And for, I don't know, a couple grand, you've created the same level of image. And it creates that celebrity personality. If people could go onto your website and they could see all sorts of DIY videos and tips on design and appearance, that's stuff that not many other people have out there, and it'll help you stand out from the crowd. So that's the 4th one. What's the 5th one? The 5th one is an interesting one. The 5th one is the most influential people are also the most connected. They're also the most connected. Meaning they can associate with people of influence outside of their sphere of influence so they can cross-pollinate and then bring other business to them. So what other businesses would be out there that are influential that you could collaborate with? The most obvious one would be landscaping companies. I know quite a few of you already have your own landscaping company as well. It's a great partnership, right? But if you don't, partner up with the most influential landscaping companies, the most influential architects, the most influential designers. find these people, build those relationships up, and if you do that, you'll get lots of business from that perspective as well, because it's all about that who. So there's your who. Become more clear on who you represent, what you're about. Become more credible. Become more prolific or scalable. In other words, create more than you consume. And then become more visible, and then become more connected. Now, I'll share with you some strategies on how to do all of those, provided I've got time here. How are we doing on time? Yeah? Because I know technically it's 1:45, right? We're good? All right, here we go. So let's start with clarity. Clarity, here's the solution to creating massive clarity inside your business. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this one tomorrow in the breakouts, so I'll just tease you today, and then we'll go deep into it tomorrow. But the solution for clarity is your pitching. How do you pitch your business, right? Most business owners are successful in spite of their pitches, not because of their pitches. Most business owners, the common things that I hear all the time from business owners is they go, I just kind of like to wing it. I like to let it unfold organically. I still have yet to figure out what unfolding organically means. I don't like to have memorized scripts because it sounds a little preachy. Yeah, I get it. But the reality is, when you're pitching differently every single day, you're producing different results every single day. But if you're pitching consistently every single day, you will be able to create predictability inside your business. There are 5 pitches that I feel every business owner should have mastered. One is the quick pitch. A lot of people call that the elevator pitch. 15 to 20 second pitch that allows people to say one thing and one thing only, which is, tell me more. Yeah. If you can do a quick pitch and sell them, I will worship you, man. Yeah. I just want them to say, tell me more, right? Yeah, just, that's interesting. Like, you have a crappy pitch, by the way, when you tell people what you do and they respond with polite indifference. Oh, that's nice. If you've ever heard that, trust me, bad pitch. Yep. What you want is people to go, really? Tell me more about that. That's a good pitch. That's a quick pitch, or the elevator pitch. The next one is a social pitch. Now, a social pitch, I refer to as any time when you got a drink in your hand. So if you're in any environment where there is a drink inside your hand, you don't need to worry about the quick pitch. It's probably casual enough that you have a little bit longer time. So this is about a 90-second to 3-minute at the most pitch, where you can talk for a couple of minutes, and it's probably going to be broken up in terms of conversation. So, for example, in our social pitches, we answer 8 basic questions, but all 8 of those questions can be answered independently as its own independent thought. So it's a social pitch. And the purpose of a social pitch is not to get them to say, tell me more. The purpose of a social pitch is get them to say one of 2 things, which is, we need to talk, or you need to meet so-and-so. You know you've got a great pitch when you tell somebody what you do and they go, oh man, I need to introduce you to so-and-so. Or, man, I think I need to sit down and talk with you for a while. That's when you got them. Okay? The third one is the sales pitch. And man, you can't wing a sales pitch, folks. If you're winging your sales pitches, I promise you your revenues are inconsistent. I don't know all of the speakers we have here today, but I promise you, based upon what you guys are saying, you guys know what you're going to say, what questions you're going to ask, and how you're going to respond. And every single person should have that scripted out word for word on how you do that. The beautiful thing about happens when you script out your sales pitch is you inherently become a much better salesperson, because when you start scripting it out, you realize, oh, but what if they say this, or what if they say that? And it allows you to start preparing for those answers first, because the last thing you ever want to do, and I'm not judging, we've all been there, is you get done with your sales pitch, you lost the sale, you're driving home, and then you go, oh, I should have said that. That would have been the one thing I needed to say. You don't want to say it at the end. You want to have all those things kind of ready. I'm making your life hell by pacing back and forth. I'm like a sniper trying to avoid. Yeah. I'm making these camera guys earn their pay today. So that's the third pitch, is the sales pitch. The fourth thing is going to be your media pitch. Now, media pitch, most people haven't even heard of what a media pitch is. A media pitch is what you pitch to the press to have them cover you for free. Anybody can buy an ad on TV, but not anybody can be on the news. And you ideally want to be on the news. Now, how would you get your LED business on the news? You have to learn how to pitch to what the media wants. Most people use a sales pitch for the media, they never get a media big. But if you understand what the media wants and what they're looking for, you can pitch to that, excuse me, create a story and a message around it, and you get featured on TV. Again, massive credibility if you could rebroadcast that, loop that on your website, to where it's constantly there showing that you're an expert or an authority in the field. And then the fifth and the final one's an interesting one. The fifth one is the investor pitch. Now you might be going, I don't need an investor. I think you do. But you may not be thinking of an investor the same way I am. So let me share with you how I look at an investor. There's the obvious investor, which is somebody who wants to put in a couple $100,000 or $1 million into your business and take some equity, and that's cool. And by the way, as you continue to scale and grow your business, the faster you scale, the more cash flow you probably are going to need. You might need to take on some investors. You need to have an investor pitch. But I think there's a more important person for an investor pitch, and it's something that everybody is going to have to deal with here, and that is hiring employees. When you're hiring an employee, you are asking a human being to give you almost 1/3 of their life. And I don't take that lightly. And I don't think you should either. I think you should understand that that person is giving you almost 1/3 of their life. And if that's not an investment in your business, I don't know what is. Those people deserve a good investor pitch. I recently hired a new assistant. Her name is Anna. She's awesome. She got our investor pitch. Why? Because, by the way, she will spend at least 1/3 of her life, not even almost 1/3. Anybody who has an assistant, you know, they don't clock in, they don't clock out. They pretty much work 7 days a week. They're answering the texts all the time. She's really making a major investment in my business, and I want to make sure she feels that I see her as an investor, not just as an employee. So those are the 5 pitches that you could master inside your business to create more clarity in the business. And I'm a big fan of the fact that you get what you pitch for and you're always pitching. So be careful what you're pitching into existence. A pitch could be something informal and just how you utter and what do you say on a consistent basis. Are you that person that when people say, how's it going, you go, oh, 2 more days till Friday? That's a pitch, right? When somebody says, hey, how's business? And you go, well, I'm not dead yet. That's a pitch, right? Yeah. Well, we've met those kind of people, right? I mean, they're miserable to hang around with, right? How many, that's this one. Here's one we can probably all relate to. Once again, not judging. I've been guilty of doing it myself, by the way. How many of you have ever said this? Somebody goes, how you doing? You go, oh my God, I'm so busy. That's an interesting one. You might think that sounds pretty cool. But here's the thing. If you constantly tell people how busy you are, they may not think you have time for them. If you're constantly telling your prospects how busy you are before you give them a proposal, they may think you don't have enough time to give them the attention, right? I have a phrase that I kind of adopted in my business, and I say one of the greatest shames in business is to brag about being busy. Because when you think about it, why are you so busy? If you're so busy, that you're probably attracting the wrong type of clients. I mean, ideally, don't you want to have perfect, think about it this way. If we were to judge all of your prospects on a rating from A, B, C, D, and E, right? How much time do the C, D, and E's take from you? How much energy do they take from you, right? But how much time does the A and the B take from you? If your business is anything like mine, and I would assume that there's not a lot of difference here, your A's and your B's buy faster and for more money. Your C's, D's, and E's take forever to close, pains in the ass, not fun to work with, right? And guess what? That's where you get busy. You get busy working with C, D, and E prospects. You have freedom when you work with A and B level prospects. How do you attract the A's and the B's? You say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and I don't work with anybody else than that. And then the C, D's, and E's don't call you. And here's the key, by the way. You got to make your pitch so good that the C, D, and E clients never call you. Because if you're anything like me, and once again, I'm not judging, I don't know about you, I don't have the discipline to say no to the C, D's, and E's. I look at my payroll, I look at my expenses, and I go, sure, they're a pain in the ass. But money's money, and I'll take it, right? And I don't want to do that, right? So I just try to eliminate my self-discipline as an option and never get the C, D's, and E's to call me and only attract the A's and the B's. I'm probably going way too long here, aren't I, Michelle? What time do you want me off?
Go. We're enjoying.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was kind of hoping you say be done because I really don't got anything else. No. I mean, let me tell you, the rest of the presentation just kind of drops off of a cliff. It's really not that good. Yeah. All right, here we go. So those are some solutions for clarity. From a credibility perspective, how do you build more credibility in your industry? Here's a really cool way to gain credibility. The coolest way to gain credibility is to work in your business for 30 to 40 years. Right? Yeah, well, that sounds exciting, doesn't it, right? I mean, kind of like, let's think, if somebody's been in the LED lighting industry for 30 or 40 years, you're going to kind of probably tip your hat to them, aren't you? You're not going to go, like, they probably know what they're talking about, right? But nobody here probably wants to work 30 or 40 years just to gain that credibility. There is a more efficient way to gain credibility. The most efficient way, and it actually trumps age, it trumps time in the field, the most effective way to gain credibility is to get published. We as a culture look at people who have been published as voices of authority. And so the more you can get published, the more credibility you will have.
You mean write a book?
For a lot of people, yes. Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you were to write a book on landscaping design, right, or lighting design, and in your, I mean, how many LED companies in your local town have written a book on LED lighting? Probably none, right? Not a lot, right? So yeah, writing a book could actually be one. I mean, think about what would happen if you're out doing a proposal, and your other top 3 competitors are doing a proposal for that same house, and when you give them a packet, you give them a book that talks about everything about what makes your system better and what your philosophies are and your ethos is in lighting. Is that going to make an impression? They're looking at all the other ones. They got brochures. You got a book? Yeah, so book could be a good one. And I get it, by the way. Not everybody has a desire to write a book or the time and the energy. I get that. But at least get published in the paper. At least get published in news magazines. Go to your local news trades, magazines, anything in your industry, and volunteer, write articles for them. Also, just write blogs, right? Just getting online to where somebody goes to your website and they see that you've got week after week after week of blogs about different theories and great pictures. All of that stuff creates massive credibility. Yeah.
By the way, doing videos and blogs and all that stuff on your website for Google is huge. And
Yes.
you can bump your,
Yep. Google right now favors video over text, believe it or not. Yeah. Yeah, it's massive. And by the way, if you guys aren't using LinkedIn video yet, that is a gold mine. LinkedIn video and LinkedIn photos are pulling better than Facebook or any social media right now because they're so far behind the times on that they're amping it up hard. Like we posted a picture of one of our networking events a week ago, and we have like 7,000 views on this one stupid photo, just business owners sitting around. Nothing. We've got videos that are just going viral and getting 5,000, 6,000 views on LinkedIn, and we can't get 300 views on Facebook. It's amazing. So yeah, if you're not taking advantage of that, it's definitely worth doing. Yeah, but go and get published, right? The more prolific, the more you create. By the way, this leads to step 3, right? We talked about creation more than consumption. So the other cool benefit is when you're getting published, you're also creating more than you're consuming. So you're creating a lot of content there. The great thing about videos, by the way, and the great thing about books, both of them, is that they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They never forget to say what they were supposed to say. They say the same consistent message over and over and over again. It's just a beautiful way to scale your business. Here's a great strategy. If you want like a step 1, do this. Think about what it is that you find yourself saying more than 5 times a week. And if you find yourself saying anything more than 5 times a week, get it on video. Get it on your website, so then you don't have to keep saying it. You can actually just send people over to watch the video. Makes a big difference. Yeah, did you have a question? No. Oh, okay, cool. Do you guys have questions? I'm more than happy to take questions as well, because I've clearly gone longer than I'm probably supposed to, and I've blown it from the strategy. So if y'all have questions, happy to answer them. Yeah.
Send like a little video, text or whatever method you use for the client before you meet them, and they whatever. Is that something that you do, or you prefer to do, send the message first while you're there personally?
Sure. So I think a little bit of everything works really well. I think the key thing is to go back to say what's going to make your who better for them, right? So even if it's something as silly as you break out your phone and you go into the text message and you hit video and you make a video of you driving off to their place going, hey, I just want you to know I'm on my way. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. As silly as that sounds, it's creating that relationship, it's creating that connection, right? Yeah. Yeah, and the same thing when you drive away, you go, hey, I just want to, you hold up your phone. Don't do it while you're driving. Pull over, right? Hey, I just wanted to let you know I really enjoyed meeting with you. I'm really excited to work on your house. I can't wait to get you the proposal. I know you're going to love it, right? Or something like that. Those little things make a difference. And I would venture to say that most companies aren't doing that.
I make a point of telling when I have a good meeting with a client, I feel really good about having met them, and I send them a text and I tell them how I appreciate meeting them, and that,
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was your name? The speakers that were up here earlier? Mary? Mary, yeah. Mary, you said thank you cards, right? Old-fashioned thank you cards. I sign probably 10, 20 thank you cards a day. As I'm running for mayor, it's going to go up to probably 100 to 200 a day. It's amazing how many times, this is the weirdest thing. You know what people do when they get thank you cards now? This is so cool. They take a picture of the thank you card and they post it on their social media because it's such a weird thing, right? Have you had people doing that? Yeah, like, oh my God, I got a handwritten card in the mail. I'm like, that's so weird. We send out tons of just handwritten thank you cards. It's easy to do. By the way, here's how you compensate your consumption. While you're sitting at home at night watching your favorite TV shows, you just write out your thank you cards. Just have a box of them at home, write them out, send them out. It's amazing how that makes an impact.
Yeah, I was watching Good Morning America about 6 months ago, and they had Mr. Wonderful on, and they asked him, why would you buy a card company? And this is what he said, what is old is new again.
Yeah, it's amazing. People get a kick out of it. It's the weirdest thing. I mean, they're taking pictures of thank you cards. Who would have known? Yeah. All right, where are we at here? We talked about production, credibility. Yeah, credibility. Just get published. Yeah, now let's go to the third one, which is creating more than consuming. I kind of already addressed that by just creating more product, more blogs, more videos, thank you cards. All of those are examples of creation, not consumption. The fourth thing, we talk about increasing your level of visibility. From a visibility perspective, I mentioned this earlier, get visible out inside your community. Universities and charities are two of the best ones. By the way, getting on boards of charities is epic. Why is that? Because the majority of people who are on charitable boards are really rich. I mean, these people have got big homes, big bank accounts, and they're always trying to keep up with the Joneses and make their houses look better. It'd be a huge market for you. Now, having said that, I want to back up from here and say that's not the right reason to get onto a charity. The right reason, yeah, okay? Just, yeah. The right reason to get on a board of a charity is because you fundamentally love that charity and you love those kind of people. And yes, then there is a side benefit where you end up doing business with those people. But if you join a board specifically for the purpose of networking and you're throwing out your cards, vomiting them all over, they're going to kind of know it's a little skeevy. So get into a charity. Don't push your business. They'll eventually ask you, but you can build some amazing relationships on charitable boards and universities as well. You know, also the other thing about universities, get strategic and go, wow, what's one of the hardest things you guys have? Now, I don't know the degree of all of your businesses. Some of you may have small shops where you are everything. You're the solopreneur. Some of you might have a staff of 10, 15, 20. For the companies that have staffing and you're working, what's one of your biggest challenges right now? Just hiring competent people, right? Yeah, just getting. In fact, I was talking to I was at lunch. Who I was talking to? Was it Matt? Can't remember. Was it Matt? Was you Matt? Yeah. He goes. I said something. He goes. My biggest problem is finding staff. And I go, yeah, getting good help. And he goes, I don't care if they're good. I'll just take help at this point in time, right? Right. So. Working with the universities, it's also a really cool way to find young top talent that's hungry, that wants a job, and is looking for it.
I went on our local university and I signed up in posting jobs, and then also another friend of ours in Fort Myers, he has a young kid that's working for him, and I was having a conversation with him, and he said, reach out to, there's a separate department for paid internships.
Yep.
So, you know, like, he's like, get in touch with whoever you need to get to with at that end of it, because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I'll offer you an internship.
Yep.
Well, paid internship is a whole different ballgame.
You'll get a much higher quality. And now it's getting harder and harder to get free interns anyway, unless it's like medical school.
Right.
By the way, go to the design, architecture, anything that would have something related to do with your business, and they would love to get a paid internship working for your business. And they're fast, quick people. I know we kind of like to rip on this millennials that they're going to kill our future, but I will tell you, when I go to University of Tampa, I have hope for our future when I see these young minds. There's some good ones. Also, go to the trade schools as well. Trade schools is great places for you to find people that are looking for jobs. These are people who are predisposed to wanting to roll up their sleeves and work hard, and they may be getting a degree in welding, but they may not like it, right? And they're looking for something where they can work with their hands. Could be another good one as well. The fifth one, connectivity. Let me share with you, well, I'll leave you with one last thought with regard to connectivity. The most effective way to create connections with other people of influence is to not try to create connections with people of influence. What I mean by that is that in the world of partnerships and creating connections, you never want to be the hunter, you always want to be the hunted. Because when you're trying to find somebody to partnership with and you walk up to them, you're a bit like Oliver Twist, please sir, may I have a cup of porridge, right? You know, you're the one begging for the partnership. But when they're knocking on your door, you're in a much better position, right? Like you want to, when you think Kevin Harrington is Shark Tank, it's better to be sitting in the chairs than standing on the stage asking for the money, right? So how do you become more attractive for people wanting to partner with you? That's a good question. How do you become a connectivity magnet? I'm going to share with you how to do it, and I'll leave you with this. If you want to become a magnet of influence to where people want to partner with you, have massive clarity, massive credibility, make sure your business is scalable, and get visible. And if you have those first 4 things, step 5 takes care of itself. They will come to you and want to partner with you. And I think I speak on behalf of Rado and Michelle when I say they love having you guys as partners. And that's what this conference is about, and I hope you enjoy their partnership with them as much as they do with you. I had a blast. I know I probably talked way too long. Hope you guys enjoy it. I can look forward to meeting all you guys tomorrow at our one-on-ones.